Hello everybody, welcome back. And if you're new, my name is Chris. Thank you for clicking on that thumbnail and watching tonight's video. I'm going to be finishing up my winter favorites, my top 15 niche fragrances for winter. This is by no stretch a complete list of my winter niche fragrances, but these are the fragrances that I think I'm going to be pulling for most frequently. So without further ado, I'm just going to jump right in. So the first one up was actually my fragrance of the day yesterday, and I posted it to Instagram, and it is Lamar by Kajal in this beautiful, gorgeous gold bottle, which I absolutely love. This is a very complex, fruity floral. I think everybody knows that this is famous for the pineapple note, but I get so much more in here. The pineapple is thick and rich and sweet, and to my nose, it's very caramelized, almost syrupy. There is a very strong note of red berries in here. I really pick up the red berries. There are florals in here, but the more I wear it, the more I pick up more of a heady white flower. And I'm thinking it's probably jasmine that I'm smelling, and rose to a lesser extent. There is a little bit of magnolia in here. I don't really pick that up, but the pineapple and the berries last for several hours, and in the dry down, you get this beautiful sweetness from vanilla, amber, there's musk, and there's a little bit of a woody note. I'm going to say it's cedar. It's a little bit on the dry side. The wood to me is a little bit dry, so I'm gonna guess it's cedar. It is also a little bit on the spicy side, particularly up at the top. I know that there's coriander. There may be a little bit cumin, but trust me, it's not the bad type of cumin. It's a spiciness that just adds to the depth and the richness of this beautiful fragrance. This is very strong. I get at least 4 to 6 hours, more on the 6-hour side. Projection is great, sillage is nice. It's a very likable scent. It's a compliment getter. It's a beautiful one, and this is the one I tend to pull for in the wintertime when it's more of a warmer day. So I'm gonna start the list with Lamar by Kajal. The next one up is a fragrance I don't think I've ever spoken about on camera before, but I've had it for several months. This is a fragrance by M.Micallef, and the fragrance is as beautiful as the bottle that holds it, and it is called Passion. And this is from the Secrets of Love collection by M.Micallef in these gorgeous kind of decorative metallic bottles. This is a spicy orange, caramel, and oud fragrance. The main spice in here is cinnamon, and it comes out right at the top, and it plays really nicely next to that gorgeous kind of a tart, juicy orange. The oud is noticeable in here, but it is not skanky, it is not animalic. It is beautiful, smoky, and a little bit sweet. The patchouli in the dry down is definitely noticeable. There is a little bit of a faint touch of musk. And in the dry down, that's when it gets really sweet, even sweeter. That's when I think it's benzoin and the caramel notes come out. And a beautiful, likable, smoky oud that just gives it some warmth. If you like those notes, if you like orange, if you like cinnamon, if you like a smoky, woody fragrance, if you like those sweet nuances with caramel, particularly in the dry down, this is a fragrance that I cannot imagine not enjoying. This is gorgeous. As one would expect with such rich notes, this has great lasting power, at least 6 to 8 hours. It's strong, but it's not too terribly overpowering, but you do need to like sweet fragrances. Sweet and spicy fragrances. I adore this one, and I have another one in the line I think came to my house yesterday. I cannot wait to wear that one either. But I'm gonna talk about Passion first because it is a gorgeous one, and I have been loving it the past month or so. I love to wear heavy, woody fragrances in the cold weather, and I had, I think, 3 on the mantle originally. To narrow it down, I just picked one, and I picked pretty much the heaviest hitter of the bunch, and it is Oud for Greatness by Inicio Perfumes, relatively new in my collection. This is a really gorgeous, strong, smoky oud and heavy saffron. I have a lot of viewers that do want to know if a fragrance leans feminine or masculine. This definitely, I think, would be viewed by most that it leans masculine, but I never shy away from masculine leaning fragrances. I wear a ton of unisex fragrances, and some fragrances I adore that might be considered slightly masculine. So this is a super strong, smoky oud. Saffron, I think there are some herbs, maybe a little bit of aromatics. I want to say lavender. To be honest with you, I don't really get lavender per se, like lavender individually. The aromatics are in here probably to give it just a little bit of brightness. Otherwise, this could be really smoky from the oud and the saffron. So the aromatics, the lavender just gives it a little bit of lift, steers it out of the super smoky zone, but it is still smoky. If I didn't mention it already, this is a real powerhouse. 2-3 sprays are going to get you all day. It's a great one for the winter time, and I'm really enjoying it. The next one up is one of my, I think, most underrated fragrances. I have talked about this before. I don't hear anyone else talking about it. I adore it because it has notes that I just love for the winter time, and it is my beloved M.Micallef by Carner Barcelona. This is gorgeous. This is a pepper. This is real strong pepper at first. Pepper, a strong cinnamon note. The cinnamon in here is not like a sugary sweet cinnamon. It is a cinnamon stick cinnamon, and there is a gorgeous incense in here. So this is for incense lovers. This kind of epitomizes the winter, particularly the winter holidays. Wore it a lot during the last month of December, but I'm going to keep wearing it until it gets really hot. I put it away in the summer. This is just not a fragrance that screams warm weather. This screams cold weather. I love it. Surprisingly, it's not really a beast. It's not a beast of a fragrance. I get about 4 to 6 hours. It starts off pretty strong, and then it kind of sticks more quiet. It sticks a little bit closer to the skin, but I absolutely love this fragrance. And I'm going to keep talking about it again and again and again because I adore it. The next one up is another incense fragrance. This was my Christmas gift to myself, and it was actually my Christmas Day fragrance. I held off buying it for several months because I did not want to wear this in the cold, and I was afraid even for me this might be a little bit heavy, but it is gorgeous. I'm so glad I got it for myself, and I've been enjoying it in the couple weeks I have had it. So I'm still relatively new with this with a full bottle. I had a sample before, but those little samples, they just don't do fragrances justice, because when you have that full bottle, you can kind of just go to town spraying it instead of just kind of dabbing it a little bit here and there. So how about I get to the fragrance? It is Encens Suave by Maitre Premier. So this is a incense fragrance, but I feel like, at least to me, this is kind of half incense and half vanilla coffee resin fragrance. So it has coffee, it has vanilla. Absolutely, you can smell those too. So that beautiful vanillic coffee is offset by this gorgeous incense. This is really sweet. It has amber in here, and I want to say some sort of resin in the dry down, sweet resin in the dry down. Absolutely gorgeous. What really surprised me, because this has a lot of big, heavy hitter notes, is that this is not a powerhouse, at least for me. It is, I would say this is moderately strong, and I get about 4 to 6 hours. So honestly, if it was any stronger, it would probably be too overwhelming, because that vanillic coffee resinous side of the fragrance might be a little bit overwhelming, but they just did it perfectly in this fragrance. I adore it and look forward to continue to wear it while it's cold here. So let's get into some gourmand fragrances. I love to wear gourmands, particularly in the cold. And this next one is a super unique gourmand. I haven't talked about it, I think, in about a year, and I need to wear more of it. And it is called Tissandu by Frassai. So this is, I need to spray it and get my nose on it. It's been a while. So this is, oh my goodness, that smells so good. This is a really, it has a really nice bitter orange or orange zest at the top. It's very spicy. I would guess some maybe cinnamon and nutmeg. This is a really doughy, I think that this is a doughy, bready fragrance. This kind of reminds me of a certain type of bread that I used to eat a lot when I grew up. It was Amish friendship bread. The bread is a nice sweet bread that has some spices in it. This also has some, this is very boozy. I want to say rum. So this has a nice booziness to it. It has leather in the dry down. This is a really nice leather. This is a sweet, non-animalic leather, and it's not super strong. This becomes, at least on me, becomes a skin scent pretty fast. I would say hour 3, but I'm totally fine with this. This is a gorgeous, somewhat understated, quiet, a little bit more gentle gourmand that frankly I just want to wear and take a break from some of those really strong powerhouse heavy hitter fragrances that I do enjoy wearing in the wintertime. So Tissandu. Now we're going to get into some familiar territory, some fragrances I have spoken about a ton. I cannot do a fragrance on winter gourmands and not talk about this next bad boy or bad beauty or beauty in general, and it is Unknown Pleasures. I think everybody kind of knows about it at this point. This is my gorgeous, this is a lemon and caramel bomb. It has a really nice, slightly bitter Earl Grey tea note, and there is vanilla and caramel that are supposed to kind of conjure up the idea or an accord of a waffle or a waffle cone, I believe. And interestingly enough, when I wear this, I have had people tell me that I smell like a coconut cookie. So it's gourmand, different people smell different things. To me, this is just lemon caramel bomb all the way with some gorgeous vanilla in the background and a little bit of Earl Grey tea to offset that sweetness, which I believe gives it a little bit of earthiness and keeps it out of the cloying territories. So I think everybody knows, or if you don't know, this is a beast. This lasts forever, and it's a projector. You know, 4 sprays, you're good to go for the rest of the day, which is very unusual for a fragrance that has citrus or lemon in it. So 2 winters in a row, this has been one of my go-tos. How many times can I talk about Rosé All Day by Gallagher fragrances? Well, obviously I can talk about it again because I'm about to. This is one of my very favorite gourmand fragrances in the cold. Particularly, I love this. This is a winter holiday fragrance. Even though the winter holidays are kind of behind us, I don't care. I will be wearing this a ton, particularly when it's really, really cold. So I just love it. The notes are on the bottle, but basically it's a darker fruit kind of crisp. So you have apple, plum, pie crisp with some brown sugar that's kind of bubbling up from it. This has honey or a honeyed rose, which is way, way, way in the background. Not at all the star. The star are those gorgeous dark fruits, the brown sugar. It's got some gorgeous tonka bean that you can absolutely detect, and this really bizarre note of stainless steel. It gives it a little bit of character, almost like a texture, if you will. It's definitely detectable, but over time I kind of become anosmic to it. So it's the one note that I think might be a touch off-putting to gourmand lovers, but I just think this is a great fragrance. Again, major powerhouse. 2-3 sprays, it will get you all day. Another one I've been loving for the past 2 winters. Now I'm gonna get into some of my favorite winter freshies. Sometimes I just want a break from all those heavy, powerful fragrances I frankly love to wear in the wintertime, and sometimes I just want a break. And one of my favorite niche freshies for the cold weather is a fragrance I've talked about a lot here, and it is my Nothing But Sea and Sky by Une Nuit Nomade. This is a great fragrance. It only has 3 notes listed. It lists bergamot, Australian sandalwood, and a really nice clean musk. I have said before that this is nothing super groundbreaking. It's just a super pleasant, bright, light, refreshing, almost sparkly winter freshie. I had a giveaway of this, I think it was in September, and the person who won this described this as being really daydreamy, and I think she couldn't have said it more perfectly. This is really kind of a really nice daydreamy fragrance. I love it. It's on the light side. This is fragrance that you can kind of overspray and you're not going to offend anybody because it's a citrusy, light sandalwood musk fragrance. So you can spray 6 or 7 times. It's still going to be fairly quiet, and you'll probably get about a half day. It doesn't last forever, but there's just something super appealing about this fragrance to me. I absolutely adore it. One of my favorite musks that I own, and a great winter freshie. My other somewhat freshy winter fragrance is a fragrance that I adore. I've had it about a year now, and I got it because of another creator, Melissa Jean. She introduced me to this fragrance, and it is called Quasimodo Rosanna by Frassai. I don't know if you can just get a load of this bottle. You can see this bottle. It is gorgeous. I love the little blue tassels. This is a bright, citrusy, amber musk with a Middle Eastern flair, and that's how I'm going to kind of describe it. To make it easy, this is, to me, this is kind of the Middle Eastern take on Creta Ventus. This smells very similar, or in the same ballpark or category as Creta Ventus, but it has some notes that give it some personality and differentiate it from Creta Ventus. This has such a juicy and refreshing opening, if I can get my little dabber here, of apple and lemon. This is so, I would describe this as juicy. Sometimes when I wear this, it actually makes my mouth water. Actually, I'm thirsty. Okay, where was I? Yes, apple, lemon. The amber in here gives it a little bit sweetness, keeps it from being too tart. It is a touch woody. I would guess probably cedar. It's a really nice, clean, dry wood. Middle Eastern fragrances are known for their musk. It has a beautiful musk, but it has a nice little earthy spiciness. This is another one that was in my powerhouse fragrances. This is like 3 to 4 sprays all day long, which is, again, unusual for kind of what I would categorize as a winter freshie, like a spicy winter freshie with a little bit of heft. So gorgeous fragrance that I absolutely adore. I only included one winter floral in this list. I actually had 2 others, but I just narrowed it down to this one. The other winter floral I wear a lot is 100 Silent Ways, and I've been talking about that a lot. So I thought I would shed some light on another fragrance I don't talk about a ton, and it is Guimauve de Noël. And this is a year-round fragrance. I can't help but to not wear this in the wintertime because of the name alone. Guimauve de Noël translates into Christmas marshmallow in French. So this is basically, I don't think there's a whole lot of notes listed. I want to say, so it's orange blossom, sugar, vanilla. This is a very gorgeous, somewhat linear, sweet orange blossom fragrance. I love the orange blossom. The orange blossom is very strong, but it's not super heady because there is a really heavy dose of vanilla and sugar in here. And that's what's supposed to kind of give it that orange blossom marshmallow vibe. It is sweet and gooey. I would say it's kind of a gooey, sweet, gooey fragrance, but the orange blossom is super strong and it keeps it from being sickly sweet. I think this could be a little bit on the sweet side or too sweet if that orange blossom didn't kind of pull it into the floral, the nice bright floral territory. This is fairly linear. You're gonna get a sweet orange blossom for most of the day, and it lasts about a good 4 to 6 hours before it starts to become really quiet and become a skin scent, in my opinion, but a gorgeous one. Another one I have been wearing and loving for the past 2 winters now. So I'm going to kind of finish off the list with my winter vanillas. And if you've been watching me for a while, you know I love my vanillas. So I could have had the entire mantle filled with nothing but vanillas, but I narrowed it down to a few vanillas that I haven't been talking about a lot and that I love to wear in the wintertime in the cold. And one of those is Gentle Fluidity Gold. This is a super gorgeous, sweet, this is a very sweet fragrance. It's sweet, it is a sweet, ambery vanilla that, even though it's sweet, it's soft and it's very powdery. It dries down very powdery on me. This has heavy musk. This has a lot of musk in it. So it's ambery and musky. So this is a musky, ambery vanilla with a beautiful, soft, powdery dry down. It's very likable. It's sweet, but maybe the powderiness keeps it from being cloying. Not a cloying fragrance, even though in my opinion it is sweet. Something that I find just super comforting. This is another one that I love to wear when I'm under a big blanket, kind of snuggled up for the night. Gorgeous, gorgeous, comforting, soft, powdery, sweet, ambery, musky vanilla that is gorgeous, and I love to wear it in the cold. I don't wear this in the summertime. This time of the year is when this one really gets a lot of wear for me. One of my favorite gorgeous, exotic, spicy vanillas is Ivory Root. I could easily see myself wearing this. I love these bottles. In the summertime, I just choose to wear it when it's cold because to me, that's when it shines. That's when it's super gorgeous. This is a strong fragrance. It has a lot of big, powerful, heavy notes that I think just play better in the winter time. It starts off very peppery and a little bit camphorous. I get something that's a teensy bit mentholy, but as this fragrance develops, it gets woodier, it gets sweeter, and it gets more vanillic. I do not think vanilla is a note per se in here, but it smells very, it has a vanillic dry down for sure. And I think a little bit of sandalwood Gorgeous, super well blended fragrance. I mean, this is just pretty close to a masterpiece, maybe a masterpiece. I love it that much. Beautiful winter vanilla right here, Ivory Root. I'm gonna end the list with my strongest, smokiest vanilla that I would not dare wear this in the summertime. This to me reads freezing cold weather because it is so incredibly smoky, and it's a very heavy fragrance in my opinion. And it is the gorgeous Lune Feline. I can't show you this bottle without, of course, showing off the beautiful little gold flakes in here. I mean, what a beautiful bottle and fragrance this is. But when I first smelled this, it was almost too smoky for me. It's spicy, that I think it's the cardamom in here that comes off so spicy that it is smoky. This is very resinous. This is a resinous vanilla. It is a woody vanilla. And I have said before that this is so smoky, it's almost too smoky. It goes right up to the edge of being too smoky for me, but it just stays within the beautiful, gorgeous territory, very unique. Don't want to pull for this very often. When I find myself reaching for this, it is literally freezing cold, because when it's really cold, I want a fragrance that's going to cut through that cold and make me feel warm. And this does the trick right here. This is another powerhouse. This lasts at least 6 hours. I'm not an oversprayer, and I wouldn't dare overspray this because I think it would probably be a little bit too much and it could be headache inducing. But a good 4 sprays will get you at least 6 hours. Any more than that will get you longer. Gorgeous, smoky, resinous, woody vanilla that is great for the winter time. The other one I wanted to show is By the Fireplace. I have a nice little travel size. I couldn't find it. But basically, to me, By the Fireplace is kind of a toned down version of Lune Feline. I think they're very, very similar. By the Fireplace has a little bit more of a sticky sweetness, whereas the sweetness in here is smoky, and By the Fireplace is not quite as heavy and rich, but they're very, very similar. Love to wear both of them in the wintertime. So that was it, wrapping up my winter favorites. Again, this is not an exhaustive list, but this is a group of fragrances that I know that I'm gonna be reaching for the next several months. It's cold until April here, so I've got a ways to go and a long time to wear these beauties. As usual, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear what you're wearing right now. So leave me a note in the comments section, some of the fragrances that you love to wear when it's cold. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one.